What is going on? Chat, it's Russell and it's Verstappen, and nobody even cares that this is Lewis's final tour. We're just getting super emotional there, watching Lewis in '06 Istanbul, '08 Silverstone. He's winning of his 7th championship. Some of the great. And then I turn on the bloody Sky Sports broadcast, and all we're talking about is whether George lied, what was said in the steward's room. Does Max Verstappen always tell the truth, as his demeanour would allude to? And then I look at you guys, and you guys are going hard at it in the chat as well. Right, go on then. So let's talk about this George Russell stuff, since it's kicked off, hasn't it? Joe says, another question: did you think that this George story was coherent? Max would sacrifice a race-winning car, cost millions, and damage a lifelong race brand everywhere just for George. So I don't think it's whether Max was going to do that. I think it's whether it's Max said that. Do I think Max Verstappen would threaten George with putting... If Max is the... Oh, right, so go on then. If we're doing the Max Verstappen thing, Max can't be two things, right? Either he's a killer in that car and will do anything to win, or he's a F1 snowflake pussycat. Can't be both things. If he said that, people are going to get on their moral high ground and start saying, well, that's too much. You don't threaten somebody's life and whatever. But I would expect that from Max Verstappen in the heat of the moment, a fire-breathing Max Verstappen. I think that's something that would come out of Max Verstappen's mouth. Christian Horner now saying, oh, no, Max Verstappen wouldn't threaten. Of course Max Verstappen would threaten George. Of course he would. I would want Max... Well, not to threaten his life. That's too much. But I think the Max that I know, how Max drives, how we've seen him drive down the leads, because, of course, this is all a function of the fact that he wants to win, nothing but. That's his whole raison d'etre. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's there. That's what he's there for. Of course, Max would tell George, I'm going to put you on your bloody head. Of course he is. Like, yeah, you can love him or don't like him, but that's who Max Verstappen is. Do you know what I mean? That's why we're having this conversation now, as of the 6th of the 12th, 2024. Do you know what I mean? Because who Max Verstappen is, you can love it or hate it. It doesn't really matter. Does Max have it in him to say that? Of course he does. Of course he does. I don't know. You can say what you want about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm a huge Max Verstappen fan, but in hindsight, it was a huge shambolic travesty in 21. What has the FIA done to Lewis? Mate, I don't know. And again, this is going to be my whole intro, talking about Lewis and the way that he's a different level, that chap. Or at least he was, like, back in his day. Oh my God. Lewis was everything that Max Verstappen is now. This is why it's so weird, the fact that they don't get on and are so different, but they're so similar as well as drivers, Max and Lewis. Like, all of this stuff that we're talking about now with Max, we were once talking about with Lewis. Was he too aggressive? Does he go too hard? The bloody late braking on the dive bombs, the switchback, the switcheroo, the up and under. Like, it was all once upon a time. No, history doesn't repeat, but sometimes it does rhyme, right? It's particularly in the one that F's. And if indeed we're talking about the parallels between Max now and Lewis Hamilton, that they are multitude, there are a dozen of them. I'm telling you, they are so different, but they are so similar. Plus, change. The more things stay the same, the more things change. Well, way to botch that, Cameron. The more things change, the more things stay the same. It's techie. Congratulations on the baby, by the way, Matt. No, absolutely. I'm a Mert fan, but I don't like the way that George moves. Do I like the way that George moves? I think it's good for F1. There's something about George Russell that is, people say it's snaky, but again, with my Lewis Hamilton cap on, what do I want from George Russell? What do I want from him? To wipe Lewis Hamilton's bum for him? Absolutely not. And the reason why I say that is because I've got Mama Cameron on the phone. That's how she'd be talking. And that's how I've heard a lot of Lewis Hamilton fans all around the world speaking. Well, why does George want to come in and change his tyres again? Why, so many moons ago at Sandvort, as an example, didn't George Russell want to play rear gunner to Lewis Hamilton even? Because he's a killer, because he already just wants to come and get 25 points each race weekend and the fastest lap to boot for dessert. George Russell is that way. He's not coming to play rear gunner or anyone, not even Lewis Hamilton's wingman. He's not that way. You saw him crash into Valtteri Bottas at bloody Imola all those years ago. Like, he doesn't care. Looking to take names is George, and that's who he is. And that might come across, that might rub people up the wrong way. But again, if we're talking the similarity Olympics, it's Lewis and it's Max because of the way they drive and their dominance over a long period of time. And then it's George is kind of like similar to. I don't know who was in the room. Christian Horner in fine form, by the way. Have you seen? Go and watch Christian Horner at that press conference if you haven't watched it already. Oh, the humanity! If ever there were proof positive, again, track distance 3.2 kilometers, 65% of the lap is on full throttle. 1 minute 22.1 is your lap record. Top speed 214 miles an hour. There are 16 turns. Elevation is 10.24. It's going to get techie around here. Heat is something that they're going to have to contend with, right? And the rate at which these tyres are degrading, C4, C3 and C5 are the mercurial set of rubber compound, tyre compound even, that they've brought. Let me take a sip of this beverage so that I can start to enunciate properly. Do you know what I mean? Max is straight, white is white, not pink, Russell. Then you have a problem. Max is not a lie teller. And he's a brutal racer. Peter, I would concur, sir. Peter, I will see you that and raise you this. I think you, sir, speak the truth also. He's nothing if not a truth sayer, is he? Oh, but Christian, oh my gosh. Look, let me say this. Like myself, a bit of Toto Wolff, particularly on this race weekend where we're celebrating Lewis and the symbiosis that is Lewis's brilliance and Mercedes at one point near metronomic operational excellence, par excellence. However, look, you guys have heard me say it a gazillion times on the channel. If I'm going to have one team principal currently on the grid and I'm going to fight in the trenches with them, that chap has a name, and that chap's name is Christian Horner. Every single day of the week, proof positive of that is how he's a war general, isn't he? You know, one of those ones that comes alive when it gets a bit beefy and a bit banterous on the grid. Christian Horner is the guy for that job. He has all the tools requisite to nail one Toto, the boy who cries wolf. Again, I think Toto's a little bit disadvantaged in the fact that his native tongue is not English. That doesn't help him. But when he starts to talk all this stuff that Christian Horner's a yappy, this, that, they have a T-minus 1 minute, by the way, for a cheeky FP2. When he starts to talk all this stuff and then Christian Horner just holds court, you just knew that something was going to go. The second that you saw Christian Horner's name on the list for the team principals press conference pre-Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the season finale, and then this starts to happen between George and Max. Who done it? Who said what? Did he swear in the stewards? What did Max say? Did Max really threaten him? Is Max a bully? Is George Russell the man to be able to... All of this stuff. You knew Christian Horner was going to have this at his fingertips, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm here for it. Is the Christian Horner... it will be at some point, I've Thundera. I don't think it's yet. If you just type in team principals press conference, Abu Dhabi, it will be at some point. It's a bit cheeky. I shouldn't be recommending you that because there is such a thing as the right of the copy variety. It's a bit techie, but you'll be able to catch it. Somebody will post it, I'm sure, even though they shouldn't be. Go and have a look at it. Christian Horner is genius. From memory, there were a couple of bits. They were like, it was like it's pantomime season, isn't it? Because I'm not even going to indulge this Toto Wolff nonsense. Do you know what I mean? The question was something like, oh, it's reignited the beef between you and Toto. Is it 2021 all of it? And he was like, listen, mate, I think Toto's got bigger issues. Lewis Hamilton's leaving the team. What he wants to be do rather than bantering me and talking out the side of his mouth. What Toto should be doing is celebrating the driver who's brought him all that success leaving, alluding to the fact that when he leaves, you might not have... Do you know what I mean? Who's going to carry you back to the mountaintop? Because it might not be George Russell of Kings Lynn, Norfolk. T-minus 60 seconds away from a cheeky FP2, during which, of course, we will get our cheeky metrics and graphics out, courtesy of our mates over at Multiviewer. But no, Christian was God tier. Oh, talking of the beef between George and Max, he was like, listen, Max is just the bloody truth sayer. He's told us what happened, and there were other people in the stewards' room who can attest to Maximilian Verstappen. So too, he was asked a question about Mohammed bin Sulayem, and this is where Christian starts to kiss babies, right? Manage stakeholder expectations, evens. Here's what he said. Question came at him thus: what do you reckon of Mohammed bin Sulayem saying that the drivers have got nothing to do with the FIA? Christian was like, well, he's absolutely right. He's Mohammed bin Sulayem. Of course he has. The FIA set the rules at the start of the season, and you know that it's a prerequisite, if indeed you're going to race in an F1 car, that you would comply to those rules, therefore. I was like, bloody Nora, Christian. I hate that point, but you make it in such a way that there's no wiggle room for me to play devil's advocate. I can't even argue against. Them's the rules, and the rules are the rules. Maybe Mohammed bin Sulayem is right. The issue where that falls down, Christian Horner, though, this is the one pushback, is that the rules are the rules. The FIA are responsible for instituting them in a way that's consistent across all related parties. So then the thesis falls down in that sense, does it not? Because FIA have not been doing that. In fact, they've done anything apart from that over the past 24, 36 months, have they not? Bear with me once we get multi-viewer going. It's going to get a bit techie. No, Christian's something different, Jack. I'm telling you. Christian's like, he puts a smile on my face. I'm watching him, and you can just see him doing this linguistic gymnastics. You know what I mean? Like, just playing both sides and just Roger Federering it back to Toto Wolff. I'm fascinated. Listen, if I'm going into the trenches and I'm taking a team principal, that team principal has a name, and his name is Christian Horner every single time, without a shadow of a doubt. I would even hesitate. That's the guy. That is the guy. Right, we need ourselves a cheeky track map, and we need ourselves some AI. Right, bear with me. Multi-viewer time for some metrics, as always. Go and download them. Support that channel because they support us. Right, let's go. Right, let me get a cheeky drink, cheeky beverage. What sort of knuckle dragger am I, by the way, for drinking Coca-Cola? A knuckle dragger of the upper echelon variety, a proper Neanderthal man, mouth breather for drinking Coca-Cola. I mean, it's gonna sort out my health, isn't it? In short order, of course it is, Cameron. I mean, what are you doing? Right, let's get some metrics. Oh no. Oh no. No, we don't want that. We want this. Okay, let's go. There you have yourself some metrics. Oh, yeah, no, I came in here looking to talk about, all I wanted to talk about was Lewis. Wanted to wax lyrical and eulogise for a bit what's going on, Chi, but Derek in the chat. Hit the road, Jack. Doing. I think Lewis's best days are behind him. The car is the car. Pop some vodka in it. Is vodka and Coke a good mix? McLaren F1 race. Pope San Miguel. Miguel, did he say? I thought you talked Spanish, Cameron. Miguel. Acere, por favor. What does Coke even taste of? Is Coke even a nice drink? It's none of it. It's knuckle draggers. I'm guessing it has to do with your son's birthday. I don't know. Go on then. We have ourselves a session, FP2, of which there is 55 minutes on the docket remaining. It's going to be interesting, this. And now the big boys are back, right? No longer is it a rookie fest. Hajar, Iwasa, Hiro something. Can't remember his name. As Lando Norris goes purple. Everyone's back in. Remember, for the race, there will be penalties. I suppose if indeed the Constructors' Championship as a PLC is something that you're invested in, worth noting that Charles Leclerc, in addition to both Williams drivers, will take themselves a grid penalty. Charles Leclerc by dint of a new engine unit into the pool. Everybody has already seen it, but did anybody see Max's announcement this morning? Another Verstappen is on the way. Absolutely, Matthew. I think we spoke about it this morning. Congratulations are in order for Maximilian Verstappen, who will be welcoming his firstborn into the world, and that's got to be good news, eh? It's got to be good news. Maybe we're doing a epiphany if we're attributing the causality of Max being particularly feisty over the past couple of weeks to him welcoming a new one. I don't know. I'm speculating. Probably not. That's just Max. You know what I mean? What else would you expect? It's a fire-breathing dragon of an F1 driver. I'm going to tolerate this nonsense from George Russell, first of his name. I don't care. Matthew Brown, far too kind as always. Do you think Shaw will get into the points on Sunday? Or enough to win it with that penalty? The Ferrari looks really quick around there. I think historically it normally is quite. Long straights, turns of the low speed variety, medium to long duration. Giovanni, you're a legend. Lewis was waxing melancholy in an interview earlier. The wider team will certainly miss him. Will be interesting to see him participate in Ferrari. Go on. Yeah, okay. So Max has another one on the way. There's a question earlier that I need to get to. So Lewis, I think it was something to the effect of how will he fare at Ferrari. Let me wind back. Thank you, Giovanni, by the way. Let's have a cheeky scroll up because there was a question. Right, we'll nail this and then we can talk. It is a sad time. Listen, celebrate Lewis's tenure, right? 246 races at Mercedes, 84 wins, 78 poles, 6 World Driver Championships, 8 World Constructor Championships. I mean, what is there to be sad about? Like, celebrate him and the, do you know what I mean? The collaboration. It's an all-time level of success. Do you know what I mean? Some drivers won't even win one race. Most drivers won't even win one race. And this dude has won 246 at one team, for Pete's sake. So raced 246, 184. Like, what are we doing here? It's bonkers. Plot twist, baby. Looks like, oh my gosh, McLaren F1 race. Don't even do it. Don't even do it. You'll get us all cancelled, mate. The question going forward, after all of this weekend's celebrations are in the books, how does he fare next year against yet another fire-breathing dragon called Charles Leclerc? It's tough, isn't it? That it's a bit techie. And the honest answer is I don't know. It'd be difficult. You heard friend of the channel Peter D. Windsor telling me that I'm a fool if I think if I harbour aspirations for Lewis Hamilton to just jump into a Ferrari car and smash it out next year, because that might not be that might not be too clever. McLaren's looking good. Oh, the humanity, says Thundera. Oh my God, says Crapmore. I don't think it will be such a dominant era of the car. Well, everybody's saying that next year, 2025, will be one of the best seasons that we've ever seen in F1 history. Such has been the extent at which these cars have converged. I saw a stat that said this is the only season in F1 history ever to have 7 drivers who have all won 2 races or more. You got apples and oranges. If I put on my forensic accounting cap, you got to understand that there's never been any more races. Excuse me. Also, there's never been a season Coca-Cola. Do you know what I mean? There's never been more races than there has been this season, right? So if you're going to compare numbers in absolute terms, then you're cheating this year. Of course, there's more races. Of course, there's going to be more race winners. Do you know what I mean? If there's show me the other season that has 24 races so that we can do a like-for-like contrast. You can't, because there's never been one. Martin Brundle at turn 5. Let's go. EC says we're exactly. Charles is quite entrenched in Ferrari. Somebody was saying this on the broadcast during FP1, right? That Lucy's got to come in. So entrenched, to your point, Remco, is Charles in Ferrari that now it's Charles and Arthur and the management are all. Do you know what I mean? They're all very closely linked to Ferrari and the hires up. Ergo, if Enzo Ferrari, if his lineage is still a thing, as you'd imagine it is, then the Tazio Nuvolari of 2004 will be like the equivalent. Even will be Charles Leclerc, 1000% each and every single time. So I don't know. I think they're behind, and plus he's got length of service, has he not? One Charles Leclerc. It's gonna get tacky. Bear with. Right. Focus, Cameron. Focus. Oh, 248 if you're watching concurrently. EC. Electronic Cornbread, legend of the channel, asks, will Justin be a regular in 2025 on Cameron CC? I hope so. Schedules permitting. Look, a lot of the comments underneath the undercut with Justin P are negative, right? Oh, he's a British bias merchant. Oh, he hates Max. Oh, he can't even justify. Oh, he keeps interrupting you, Cameron. He's like, we're going to have debate. I can't have this channel and it just be consensus, right? I could get people on all the time who just agree with me and a Max worshippers. But sometimes, and me and Justin have been arguing since like as long as I've known him, right? Probably more than 10 years now. And the arguments were always, there were common threads. It is always Lewis and Matt. It's always been that way, right? So when Justin comes on, sometimes, I mean, you know what I mean? I linguistically, as far if we're arguing, I will back myself 9 times out of 10 to hold my own. But Justin, he knows me. He's like I'm trying to think. He's like Max and Lewis in 2021. Justin knows all my tricks, so when I'm talking to him, sometimes, to use the boxing analogy, sometimes Justin's going to 10-7 me, and I kind of need, I've got to have him, our favourite, Danica Patch, it says MS. I know, although she looks like she's been smashing out the gym, right? Whatever you want to say about Danica, she takes her health seriously, props. Engine drivability, low RPM. Yeah, no, so Justin, hopefully, schedules... Yeah, no, I've got to, schedules permitting. I know Justin's he's going through a big move at the moment without putting all his personal stuff out there, but he's a good friend from a long time ago, and we'll always have that chemistry, right? So I've got to get him on, and we will argue, and he'll call me out my BS. And yesterday was case in point, right? 10-7'd me, yeah, living on the edge. He's good, right? He's a good glove to my Max Verstappen hand. And he'll call me out on my bull feathers sometimes, as he did yesterday. And ultimately, I lost around 10-7, and it happens. But it's I don't know. I like having these conversations. Justin is fun and lively. He's a valid combatant, isn't he? He's absolutely that. He's a good one, Shiva. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I know there were loads of people in the comments like negative. I think what we're not used to seeing in F1 is divergent opinions, right? Everything's got to be me too. No, it's got to be. I think the opposite. I think you need thesis, synthesis, antithesis, or antithesis, depending on what area of the world you come from. Otherwise, it's just like, this is why I don't even watch the Sky F1 podcast. Max Junior versus Max Junior. Oh my gosh, Benzie. No, you do me over. Yeah, maybe. I need to get Little Man into karting at some point, but I'm worried about the danger. I'll be honest with you. Cheers from Arizona 615. Kevin, you're a legend. You're an absolute legend. Caleb pulled me up on Justin. Didn't know you knew so long. I'm a relative rookie on this channel. Yeah, McLaren F1 race. If you watch, I've deleted all those old videos now, but in 2015, 2014 maybe, we started this channel it was me, Justin, and Guy. Again, I'll get Guy on at some point when his schedule allows. But we were just arguing, going back and forth, telling each other that we were idiots. You're a fool, Justin. What are you talking? Cameron, shut up with your nonsense. And that's how the channel started. Yeah, the undercut is a fun video. Big ups to Justin. No, you're a legend, Edma. I'm glad you guys. The main issue I had with him was that he did not listen and care. You know what, LMR? It's a different. I'm not. Okay, you've got to. How can I describe this to you guys? It's not the strongest of the species that survives, but the most adaptable to change. You'll see that my approach to the conversation with Justin and his approach to me is very different from a Peter Windsor interview, right? With Peter, when he comes on, I'm passing the ball. Peter is infinitely deeper as far as his knowledge on F1. So I will disagree respectfully with Windsor and throw him in a tangential opinion. Tangential, what a word to say. But with Justin, we're just down the pub having a chat, right? So there's going to be interruptions. It can't be as smooth as like a Peter Windsor interview would be, or the shakedown as an example, where me and Justin are just talk. I'm not even asking questions. We're just, you know what I mean? We're going back and forth. So it's a very different interview. But I'm conscious of the fact that there are all these F1 there are different types of conversation to be had, right? EC, I applaud your openness to have Justin counter you before your audience and haters. I'm not EC, but that's the entertaining thing, right? Oh, Cameron, you're a Lewis Hamilton hater, they'll say. So, right, then let's get a Lewis Hamilton fan, a proper one, in inverted commas, on a channel, and they can tell me, Justin can tell me where I've been such an idiot and debunk my very flaky theses. Now, I appreciate you, EC, every time. Got to have these conversations. I mean, what we won't do is drink from the fountain of unreason, nor enable, nor indulge or facilitate on this channel abbots of unreason. Why? Well, because truth, value, and objectivity. We will not sacrifice either one of those at the altar of partisanship, recency, nor confirmation bias. That's why, you see, do you know what I mean? Hence why sometimes Cameron's going to get 10-7, as I did yesterday. Windsor 10-7s me regularly, by the way, if you haven't noticed. Just 10-7s me. Lots. Got to get 10-7 sometimes. Take your licks. Right. T-minus 42 minutes on the docket. Can't put you still reasonably toasty. Russell telling it's getting hot over there. I criticised Justin after that podcast. I disagreed with a lot of what he said. It doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the discourse. The arguments aren't a bad thing. Exactly this, Remco. Got to criticise. You have to. It can't be one way, right? This is not Orwellian 1984. It's got to be like friction and. Do you know what I mean? Can't always be right all the time. I definitely can't. He's Justin Cam's devil's advocate advert. Benzini always has been. Always has been. Calls me out on my bull feathers all the time. And I think that's why, there were differences with how you disagreed with Windsor. Like how you handled Lando's glazing. He was yeah, you guys don't like you don't like Windsor's Lando takes, do you? I think there are holes to be picked there. I think Peter's a big fan of Lando, as you guys probably already see. But I mean, we disagree on that again. But this is do you know what I mean? Respectful disagreement is the fundament. Yeah, but Peter Windsor's not bad, is he? Bless him. He's grateful ad infinitum for it. Got a lot of time for Peter. Do you know what I mean? Also complaining about everything on the radio as standard, Kayla. What else would you expect from a chap? You know, the news rain is still wet. You've got to have a lot of lovers and haters in debates, defo. McLaren F1 race, we can't always agree, right? If you're a fan of Max, I was talking to another friend actually, who called me out for my Max Verstappen glazing and bull feathers. And I said to him, mate, we both went to Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao. And we were all rooting for Floyd Mayweather, who is an absolute scumbag of the highest purport, like an upper echelon douchebag is what Floyd Mayweather was. But because he was so brilliant as a sports athlete, as a boxer, the best that I've ever seen, not dissimilar to Max if we're drawing parallels, we all forgot about all of his indiscretions outside of the squared circle. That fast forward to December of 2024, and here we are having the same conversation about one Maximilian Verstappen. Oh, he swears too much. He's too harsh. He's too hard in the overtake. Ultimately, I'm not sure I care, because when Brazil comes round and it's monsoon conditions, I'm looking at Max to just Do you know? P17, 69 laps in a race. By the 43rd lap, Max Verstappen is up to first from 17th on the grid. Riddle me this. How? How, Sway? Makes no sense. Whatever, I was always for Manny. Manny was brilliant, right? And he was the nice guy in that equation. Do you know what I mean? Barely a blemish on Manny outside of the octagon. So why then was Cameron rooting for the douchebag that is Floyd Mayweather? Because I crumble, no, bend the knee before sporting excellence every single time. Do you know what I mean? That's me. But and that might be my failing. Yeah, no, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, is Peter. Such a legend. You have no idea, I'm telling you. And I tell you what with Windsor, I don't think you'll mind me saying this. He doesn't consume news. See, when we get on later on at 8 p.m. when we're talking, we're going back and forth about the news and George and Matt said this and whatever. Peter doesn't even. Peter watches and wants to remain uninfluenced by the mess and the chaff that is the noise that is F1 media. He just wants to watch it and interpret it using his knowledge. And what ultimately happens, right, is that because he doesn't watch the news, he's just a lot of the things he doesn't even like. He's just interpreted it as a function of his knowledge. Mate, listen, defer to the experts. I'm telling you, the amount of times he doesn't bat 1,000, Mr. Windsor, but the amount of times that he gets it right without even know it, mate. Oh, Max is the GOAT. That's how. Let's go. He's very good. He's not a bad. He's not a bad peddler. Mount Rushmore of F1, 100%. Bit like Iron Mike, colourful pass, but he was brilliant as well, McLaren. I didn't like Mike so much, if I'm honest. Right, 2 minutes 40 minutes on the docket. Max Verstappen, how is the ride? Oh, the ride is bad, says Max. It's really my problem with the car. Front axle just not working again, struggling to turn in. It sounds like is what that RB20 is doing. Small loss to Norris at mid-speed. Colapinto 3 seconds. Colapinto 2 car behind you. Good communication from Bono. Oof. Houseway. Yeah, no, I used to be a big Yay fan, but again, another bloody genius, right? It seems like these geniuses have this. Do you know what I mean? The line's there and they exist. Just a couple millimeters beyond that line. Their genius is indeed linked to that. A function of it, no, because of it. I like the different opinions. Most F1 chat. Yeah, I don't want it, Mart. It can't be that. Sick and tired. Yeah, no, I agree. Particularly, and you know what? I'm particularly aiming at the international syndicated broadcast there. But again, they're running scared of hearing this. Brundle said that Max Verstappen has got everybody on the run, both drivers, bloody broadcasters. You saw what happened to Damon Hill when Damon started talking about Dick Dastardly. Mate, you want to manage that stakeholder. Is that does that bode well for open-minded, transparent journalism? We don't want an Orwellian F1 journalist space who don't want to speak out against Max Verstappen if indeed they, because Damon's comments were harsh, but were they a gazillion miles? Dick Dastardly is a bit cheeky. It's a bit cheeky, and again it right for a run for it gives credence to this British bias stuff. Colapinto was a little too fast. Oof. Yeah, no, Mark, I agree with you, man. It has to be difference in opinions. Got to come in here and argue, man. Look, F1 space is a gazillion years behind every. Like, you turn on football or basketball in North America, it's bloody Shannon and Skip, and they're sorry, it was Shannon and Skip on Fox, but now it's Shannon and Stephen A on ESPN, and they're Stephen A. Love him or loathe him, he's made an industry out of sports debating, hasn't he? Where is that in Formula One? The answer to that question is that there's nowhere, because no one else is doing it. That's why. And I want to do it. Do you think the fact that Red Bull, again, extra development time could buy? I don't know what you mean. Could make next season less exciting than expected because they could fix the car. I think convergence is going to be a thing. I think there's something as far as this spec of ground effect vehicle the law of diminishing returns. Adrian Newey, I went back and watched Adrian Newey at the livery launch, and there were like loads of gems in there. I was talking really cryptically about the RB20, about the law of diminishing returns, that they had to go a different direction as far as the design philosophy because they felt like they were reaching the uppermost aerodynamic ceiling, like all these weird things as if, do you know what I mean? On the back of the RB19, which was the most dominant car in F1 history, winning all races apart from one. So why is Adrian Newey talking like this? And then you see this season, it kind of, like the results kind of, and the difficulty in the understeering, it kind of, the results bear out what Newey was alluding to. So I don't know. I think towards the end, latter stages of a rule spec, they all catch up each other. Do you know what I mean? 2026, somebody will nail it, maybe one or two teams, and then over the remainder, everybody will gradually catch up as they make similar leaps and bounds. As we're going to 25, says EC, the DTS audience will be 5 years into F1. When will you and Peter accept them as qualified, trusted F1 fans? See, when you say you and Peter, EC, I see what you've done there, but I don't think me and Peter aren't a monolith as far as our opinions on DTS. You will hear often, I will push back on Peter's, I mean, you need fans, right? It doesn't matter like the colour or creed. We are broad church common creed, right? There is differences and they are notable, but that's not to say I can't turn my nose up at a DTS fan unless, I'll tell you what happens, EC. When a DTS fan wants to talk down to me and tell me that I don't know anything, or a DTS fan wants to say, well, Cameron, you're not a real Lewis Hamilton fan, then, EC, that's when I go scorched earth and just lose my mind. I'm like, hang on, how have you just come into the sport the other day and now you're telling me I've been here all my bloody life? Do you know what I mean? 500,000 years as near as makes no difference. I've been watching this sport as long as I can remember and playing it and researching it and reading Micropose Grand Prix manuals and watch it. Do you know what I mean? Like how I'm not, Abbots of Unreason, EC. I'm not prepared to tolerate that. That you take that one to the bank. That will not happen. No time. Not tolerating disrespect from anybody as far as Formula One. I'm not the listen. I'm not there. I'm not Peter Windsor's level. Nowhere near. But there is a difference between me and my knowledge and your average fan / Johnny come lately DTS arrival. And I'm just not going to be. Oh, you don't know that. I had an argument with a DTS fan once. Tried to snigger at me and tell me that I don't know anything and I'm wrong, where I was nothing but right. I'll tell you about that argument one day. It resulted in the falling out, the ending of a relationship. This chap tried to tell me that that everybody's opening the door for Max, that they're not racing him hard enough, that they're scared. I said, well, if Max is racing for first and I'm racing for ninth, and Max is coming through the pack, he's in 10th and I'm in 9th, why would I fight Max Verstappen? If I'm a smart racing driver and I'm looking to optimize for my position, why am I going to fight Max Verstappen? Ultimately, he's going to nail me anyway. And the rate at which my tyres are degging, I'm just taking, do you know what I mean? I'm just detrimenting my chances of optimizing for my position by fighting a fire-breathing Max Verstappen who's in ostensibly quicker machine. There is, oh no, if that's me, then I'm gonna, no, it's not coming round me. I'm a man. Well, all right then, mate. It's that type of that type of nonsense, EC, that I can't. I'm like, well, you don't know wheel. That's the trick. If you don't know wheel, then just say you don't know wheel. Stop pretending. It's that sort of nonsense. And I mean, I'm out here trying to live my F1 life in a way that's humble and we'll have debate. I don't bat 1,000. You guys will correct my nonsense from time to time, as did Justin 10-7 me yesterday. You gotta, oh no, I'm a man. I'm not gonna. Max is overtaking me. I'm going to fight him. Well, all right. So, okay. It sounds good on paper. Can go ahead with your braggadocio manner. But that's not the way that you race F1. If indeed you want to optimize for your position. DTS fans trying to come in here, tell me something about something. You're on Drive to Survive. Cam, what's going on, Walter? I hope you're good. Cam is the man. No, Walter, you are the man. And you are the men and women. I'm going to start doing that. I see... T minus 29 minutes on the docket of P2, and we haven't even talked about it yet. I will in short order, I promise you. That real, bro, very real. I think, yeah, EC. Honestly, EC, I cannot. I don't want to throw names. I'm not. Let's imagine it's a hypothetical argument. I'm not going to throw names out there, but like, do you know what I mean? If that's fine. Oh, everybody opens the door to Max Verstappen. Well, you don't know wheel, and that's fine. But that can't be me, EC. I don't know. That can't be me. I got to accept when I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, you guys call me out. I need 270 of you watching in the chat. Do me a favour and smash the like. I want to see how DTS interprets this season. Apparently, they didn't film this interaction, this latest one between George, first of his name, and Maximilian Verstappen, did they? Didn't film it, but they don't need to. Just get the bloody B-roll of the article saying what was said. They've got to cover it. This is an episode by itself, man. They have to cover it. Oh, right. Go on then. Let's talk about some racing. Surely at some stage, Cameron, if indeed you want to be the goatiest F1 channel to have ever goated. T minus 28 minutes on the dockets. I'm going to run off again a little bit early, but we'll be back at the very latest later on today to do the Friday night stream where we go along 8 p.m. British Standard or GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. T minus 28 minutes on the dockets, if I remember how to enunciate. Williams working hard at that car, both of which will receive grid place penalties. I think both of which for engine replacements. Your runners and riders with 27 minutes to go. Lando Norris purple on a 123.517. Piastri 123.7. Sainz, Bottas, Magnussen thereafter. K-Mag 124.2. Oof, 0.7 away from the race lead, or the session lead at least. Liam Lawson, Leclerc, Alonso, Maximilian Verstappen down there in 124.6. We'll do some due diligence because it looks and sounds and feels like a lot of these guys are doing just that. Getting in some homework ahead of the race. Race sims more than quali sims. Why else would Maximilian Verstappen be so low down in the standings? So too, look at the Mercedes boys, 15th and 17th. I have a suspicion that the race tomorrow will be taking place, or Sunday even will be taking place around this time. Hence why they're trying to get a like-for-like comparison, do all of their due diligence and ticks and crosses in conditions that are most similar to that what they'll be experiencing during the race. Matthew Brown, you're a legend, sir. I'm wondering how he's going to race the same way next year. Now he's going to be a father and we'll lose what man. No, Matthew, say it's not so. But this and that's a thing, right? Just like Father Time and Lewis. Undefeated, undisputed, 39, soon to be 40 years old. How many 40-year-old champions have there been in F1 history? I'll wait. You guys let me know in the chat. You guys have heard me trot out this stat. I'll be disappointed if some of you don't know this. How many F1 champions have won a championship at 40 years old or older? Incidentally, by the way, that's how old Lewis will be by the first time he gets in the car. And who are they? Give me some names. By the way, George has been lying, yeah. And what Justin said yesterday, love the convo, by the way, is then different, right? He's techie. They are saying, Horner saying that, I did hear Horner say that George has been lying. But was he lying about what he said in that? Because remember, I need to go back and read. We'll talk about this later. But George said that during the drivers' parade is where Max Verstappen told him that he was going to put his head in the barrier. Let's go, Ollie. Let's go. Blue flag says one. Go on. You guys let me know who they are then. Since we're FP2ing. Don't ask ChatGPT. Don't do it. Fangio, you got one. Bjorn, Annam, there you go. Max is getting even faster with all. I think he's going to get better, Outlaw. That's the problem for the other 19 now. Go on and I'll give it to you. From memory, again, don't quote me. Fact check me. But I've looked at this before. Giuseppe Farina in 1950 was 44, I think, when he won his championship. Fangio won his last one in 57. And he was well past 40 at that stage. And then Jack Brabham in 66 also won his championship. or one of his championships when he was 40 plus. Ergo, there's only been 3 F1 champions who have ever won the championship at the age that Lewis will be next year, 39, soon to be 40 years old. Take that for whatever you will. And those all happened earlier in F1's journey than 1966. What does that tell you? So for the past 58 years, modern day F1, there has never been a 40-year-old champion. Close. I think Prost was quite close when he won in 93. I think Mansell was 38 when he won in 92. Damon Hill was old when he won in 96. I want to say 36 or 37. Don't quote me. But 40 is a watershed, isn't it? Although if anybody's going to do it, do you know what I mean? If there is a dude who's going to break precedent, then it would be Lewis Hamilton. Sir Lewis Hamilton. That shall put some respect on his name. Bloody no, you see Leclerc like weaving through. Jeez. Looks very dangerous, eh? But I say all that about Lewis to say this. No, you're a legend, Matthew. I say all that to say this about Matthew Brown's comment. Listen, the time thing and Father Time being undefeated and disputed, pound for pound, never lost a round. It's almost like a truism of F1, right? But the trend is your friend until there's a bend. Maybe Max and Lewis come along and completely rupture, spit in the face of conventional F1 wisdom. Ergo, maybe Max has his child and continues to get better because he's a racer and all he does is race. Same thing with Lewis, like Lewis of Rye House. I was just watching them reflect on Istanbul 2006. 2008 Silverstone, 2018 Singapore. By the way, there's a neat kink to 2018 Singapore, isn't there? Have you guys heard this? I think if Matt's the 6 in a row, oh my gosh, he will retire. They keep talking about the sabbaticals. Let me tell you this about Singapore. That Singapore 2018 lap that people say is the greatest showing of Lewis Hamilton's brilliance. Again, fact check me. Don't quote me on this because this one's an important one. As I was researching it, there's a book that talks about this. In 2018, when Lewis put down that lap, the circumstance around it was that Mercedes rocked up. The setup was all over the shop. Mercedes in free practice were rubbish. Q1, Q2, they barely got through. And then Lewis goes and puts in this lap from the gods, right? A perfect lap if ever you've seen one, and puts a car that should have been on pole, 2018. However, and this is where it gets techie, chat. There is a footnote. Sometimes you've got to look at the footnotes to these all-time stories and not just the outcomes ultimately. Because, of course, the headline is that Lewis puts in a God-tier lap from the racing gods. One of the best that we've ever seen. Perfect lap settings, smooth as eggs, etc. Cool. That's the headline. The footnote to 2018 Singapore, if I remember correctly, and you guys fact-check me on this because I need fact-checking, is that Max Verstappen was on for a lap between Sector 1 and Sector 2. He was on for a lap quicker than Lewis Hamilton at Singapore in a car that was slower yet still. So Sector 1, Sector 2, Max was mimicking. Max was green on, or purple even, on Lewis Hamilton's ultimate lap. However, in Sector 3, they had an issue with the engine because it was Renault, and Renault were nonsense and divested out of engine manufacturing and continuous improvement. And so that he had a massive drop in brake horsepower. That same 2018 Singapore qualifying session, Max had a massive drop in horsepower. I want to say around the final turn, but still, I don't know. Yeah, still qualified like third or fourth. But for extenuating circumstances and or a cheeky mistake, which always could happen, right? We're doing sliding doors and hypotheticals now. Max would have put in a quicker lap than Lewis in Singapore 2018. That's your fact check me. I've read that somewhere a very long time ago, but I thought it was quite interesting. Jack Russell settings barking up a bit. Oof, George Russell. George are invoking the term bullying as a disservice for real. Life bullying, that I hear what you mean. Turtle Knight. I hear what you mean. You don't want to take, if it is bullying, then cite it. If it's not, don't use the word bullying. He said, I think, if I remember George's quote, that Max has been bullying all the other drivers for the longest time now. And Martin Brundle alludes to this. We'll talk about this tonight, but Martin Brundle says that everybody's running scared. The media, like Damon Hill, potentially got, do you know what I mean? We know what happened with Damon. Potentially that was on the back of his comments about Max Verstappen, Dick Dastardly, etc. Who knows, mate? Sometimes you got to manage your stakeholder. You know what I mean? When do you think Max became the best driver in F1? 2019 potentially. Well, the obvious moment is 2016 is brilliant, yeah. But the obvious moment is bloody no, they're looking at Franco Colapinto's engine, by the way, with T minus 19 minutes on the docket. I'm going to leave a tad early again, chat. I apologise. But we will reconvene. Not yet. T minus 10 minutes, I'm going to run away. But we will definitely reconvene for the Friday night Formula One chat. Of course we will. We will go long and argue, of course. George is a hypocrite, says Matthew. He said that Max threatened to put his head in the wall, and yet they both entered turn one, and Max didn't even push him off the curb. What an over-exaggerated diva, the real liar. Matthew, go on then. Let me put forth this as a supposition. Do you think for a second that Max wouldn't say... I'm not saying that he did, because I wasn't there. But do you think that Max wouldn't say something like that to George in the heat of the moment if he was cheesed off? I think Max would say something like that, and I don't hate it. Look, Matthew, let me be honest. I can't be bothered with the F1 snowflakery. I hate it. I feel like I'm Agent Smith in the Matrix talking about I can't. I'm allergic to it. I don't want it. When behave yourself, you're becoming like a Max Verstappen. Go on and let's address that, Ronaldinho, because you're not the first person that say I glaze Max Verstappen too much. And don't delete that, mods. Leave that in there because we're here to talk. So in fact, Ronaldinho, I can tell that you're new to the chat because we went through this in the first instance, but I'm happy to regurgitate. My issue with Max and Floyd Mayweather, who came before him, the best boxer that I've ever seen, is that in the face of sporting excellence, I just bend the knee. I like it. In fact, conversely, I'm allergic to underperformance, hence why Lando keeps seizing defeat from the maws and jaws of victory. It frustrates me, gets me angry, because you've wasted another opportunity. But when Max Verstappen does like he did at Brazil, I'm like, hang on, this dude is something special. This is a little bit different in look and feel as versus everything that I've ever watched, maybe barring Lewis when he was in his pomp 2006. So, Ronaldinho, you can say what you want, chat, but I've made it clear and I didn't stutter. I'm invested in Sporting Excellence PLC. Overweight it. My mortgage is in that. That's the very reason why this channel exists and the very reason why I watch F1. So you can say whatever you want to about giving Max Verstappen his due praise. If you want to interpret that, there's this thing. If you want to interpret that as Max glazing and if that's what you want to say, Ronaldinho, then cool. But here's the thing. I see people, abbots of unreason, I'm calling them now, that don't want to give Sporting Excellence its due praise. And if you want to drink from the fountain of unreason and leverage confirmation bias to make the narrative aligned with your own personal thinking, though it's not insubstantially influenced by confirmation bias, then that's fine. We're all different, you know what I mean? We all look through life and, of course, F1 through very different lenses. Do you know what I mean? So, Ronaldinho, if that's your angle, because me and you disagree, you want to call names, then that's a you problem, Ronaldinho, not a me. A you problem, but I digress. The Hulk been pushing that car all year. Oh yeah, 100%. Hulk's got some proper knowledge. He's a good one. Telling lies in the media, making up stuff. He's agreed, Wolfer. You could interpret it. EC, I was coming to that comment, mate. Retype it. Because we're getting techie, right? Ronaldinho's just lit the blue touch paper, scorched earth Cameron, as we've got T minus 5 minutes, T minus 7 minutes to go on the stream, T minus 15 minutes to go till we get ourselves a checkered flag. I could be true, but until somebody who was in the room other than George, I know, and there's other, Christian Horner already said there's other people in the room, eh? Oh, it's hard to know. They needed to film that and can you imagine that if they'd filmed it and put it out on a Drive to Survive episode? Oh. FP2, Alex Albon, issues, Williams at issue PLC, aren't they, this race? Don't even know what's going on. D. What's going on? North London, let's go, D. Stone throw away. I'm safty. You see, Max can talk that way, but what he said was not gameplay. King George has every right to clap back with prejudice. That's one angle, EC, and that's what Justin. That's why Justin 10-7 to be right. I don't know if I disagree. I'm pleased that somebody's. We need this. Max can't just run. I don't want for Max to just. I know Max wants to win every race by like 30-60. I know he does. He wants to dominate, and that's his. Speaks to who he is as a person and as a driver. Copy, but I don't want that. I think conversely, if I ever have the opportunity to hold court with Max Verstappen, my first question will be this: don't you think Lando Norris did you a favour and McLaren did you a favour in 2024? Because all the naysayers have always leveraged at you the criticism that you're an Adrian Newey car merchant, as was Sebastian Vettel in the end. Lando Norris, by taking it to you in a car that was quicker, gave you the opportunity to spread your wings and fly, to show how truly good you are to all and sundry. That would be my first question. Just Mike, exactly, and it's unconfirmed. Him using 2021 and Massey has to fear for his life. I know that was a phrase, eh? Michael Massey, he's gone hard. He's unencumbered. But then you hear EC's point, right? Sometimes, like, if we're gonna wade in these waters without prejudice and compunction, with impunity even, then fair game is fair game, right? 252 if you're watching concurrently, as we are T-minus 13 minutes on the docket. I'm going to run away ever so slightly early because I've got to go and punch some numbers into a spreadsheet, and my coffee break has been overly extended. D says, how do Camp South, mate? Wrong side of lots. Yeah, apparently D, especially of late. It's real in these London streets, right? Particularly south of the Wall. If Russell's in championship fight with Max next year, Max has already run the mind games potentially. Max is looking and sounding like Schumacher at his height. Schumacher never thought he was wrong, remember? I don't disagree, EC. This is what I hear you. I hear the comparisons. I think Max sometimes, I'm trying to think of an instance where Max has said, you know what, I hold up my hands, I got this one wrong. I think if we think collectively, we'll be able to think of at least a couple of incidences where Max said, in fact, when did he say? There was a time very recently when Matt said a mistake. There was an antithesis to your point, EC, but I can't remember. That would be true if Max followed through. It's a fact that makes one wondering if George is over-exaggerating. I'm not saying it cannot be true, but I would like proof. Me too, Matthew. Jeannie, little late life appointments. I don't think George will be too phased, but I know, which is different, Jeannie, because all the rest of them, the other 18, are like, that's Max, he's going to kill me. Like that, you can see them, they carry away, and we don't need that in F1. We need more George Russells to kind of, do you know what I mean? To rise to the. It's another question though, Jeannie, whether he can truly rise to the challenge in sporting terms. That's the question. That's what we want to see the answers for. Not just anybody can talk the talk. I can talk the talk, but can I back it up when I get into a car and Max Verstappen, a fire-breathing Max Verstappen, is breathing down my neck with his very unique brand of aggressive wheel-to-wheel combat. Can I do it then? Can I walk the walk in addition to talking the talk? They're two very different entities, right? The former being infinitely more easy than the latter. And that's the issue for George. That's what I want to see. Because the community will fact check. The community will fact check your AWS if you're not careful. As we have been doing. Do you remember when Will Buxton said, I don't believe that Lando can win. I think he will win. Will Buxton's words, not mine. And again, everybody's crystal ball is as murky as the next person's, right? But Will Buxton came out as one of the premier F1 journalists, employed, by the way, officially by the FOM. That's what Will Buxton said. And if you go onto my Twitter, Cameron CC A with an X on you'll see it there. So you know what I mean? Anybody can talk, but sometimes you need evidence to substantiate your claims. Cam Street, I know, we got to do it. We got to do it, AU. Analog malls. We've got to do it. Genie, Kayla, Nate, the same. Cam, I'm praying for a competitive Lewis and Alonso next year. I would pay to watch that. I concur with that, Nate. I agree with you, mate. You're nailing it. Singing from the same hymn sheet. Right. Cameras don't lie. Yeah, no, see it make contact. Cameron CC, per the BBC, there were 2 seats left, both next to Verstappen, who waved, said hi, George, and indicated for him to sit down. George got denied. Yeah. Although, if they lose, Max, you don't think Christian Horner, especially on the back of this, you don't think Christian Horner, if indeed they do lose Max Verstappen to Mercedes, Christian Horner will looking to sign George Russell straight away, instantaneously. T-minus 9 minutes on the docket. Let's have a look at some runners and riders. Currently, Lando Norris still has the fastest lap of the session on a 123.5. Oscar Piastri, 123.7. Hulk, Sainz, and Lewis Hamilton shortly thereafter. Lewis on mediums, 124.1. I suspect that that's a soft compound tyre that he set that on. Out of turn 3, I hit the curb quite hard, like on the plank, just for your information, says Max. Oh, the humanity. Damage already, Max. I mean, oh yeah, look at that. Look at the oversteer. But look at his ability to just correct for that. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Ronaldinho, by the way, Ronaldinho, I didn't, how comes you've popped up now again? I didn't see, were you one of the naysayer roaches that ran off into the distance there in Brazil? You know what I mean? After Brazil, all the naysayers want to hide, they want to hibernate, right? Only now did they come out again when Max Verstappen is battling a car that he's struggling with. It's very convenient, that. Very convenient, some would say. Poor Road Williams mechanics say, oh no, they've got no, that car is a cut and shut, isn't it? Matthew Brown, chat. Am I the only one who hates the Asmarine as a track? It's just undynamic and frankly boring corners. Bring back Brazil, Japan. I know, the Brazilian Suzuka. Oh, the humanity. Or at least when Suzuka 94 was the penultimate track, wasn't it? And then they went to Adelaide. I don't hate a Brazil finish. Brazil feels like a very apropos a track around which they should finish and have this crescendo main event. 2008, 2007. Always brings up some drama. No, I think you're onto something there, Matthew. Far too kind as always. T-minus 7 minutes on the docket. And I do like that from Matthew. It's a very good point. There's a lot of changes to be done. Get rid of the sprint races. You guys let me know, what's the thing that you want to see F1 do in 2025 more than anything else? What's the one thing, if you could change something, that you would change it? Sprint races are getting them on nerves now. And I was a massive proponent in the first instance. But you got to the beauty of a mind is the ability to change it now. That's the... And I change my mind. I have done on all things sprint racing concerned. I'll be honest with you. Oh, Anthony D echoing my sentiments that I like that George is standing up for himself. Be careful you don't lose your job, Anthony D. Do you know what I mean? Mate, you want to fire MBS, but did you hear Christian Horner on MBS? I wonder how they pay F1 to be the last race. Oh yeah, how much they pay F1? No, I agree with you. It will be a lot of money. It will be a lot of money. Go back to one tyre change on the real tyres. In stark contrast to Karin Chanduk's thesis, he wants at least 2 tyre changes and mandated 2 tyre changes because that gives rise to more variables and circumstance, and you know what I mean? Right, what time is it? Right, chap, I've got to run. Nothing else is happening. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Hulkenberg, Sainz. I'll go away and do some deep diving. And Ronaldinho, I was watching your last video with the other brother. I was really perplexed by your point of view. I always watch your videos, but I don't always have time to catch you live. Ronaldinho, you're a legend, mate. And again, this is what I was saying earlier, because I think you're a bit late to the party. It's got to be contrasting opinions. Justin came on here and he 10-7'd me yesterday by my recognition. Like, I think he out-argued me. If it were a moot or there were a motion at the outset, Justin would have won the debate potentially. But that's why we got to get him on, right, and have an argument, Ronaldinho, because we have divergent opinions. But Yeah, no, listen, props to Justin. I feel like he 10-7'd me. In stark contrast to what most of the comments said underneath the video, I actually use Brazil with changeable weather or move finale changeable weather. Wow, move the finale to Vegas since American is injured. I know, but could they? That's probably where they're going to, Matthew. In the end, Vegas as your finale potentially, because that's a FOM production. They promote it, don't they? People of the Cameron community, do us a favour, says Kayla, and smash the like. Listen, therefore, por favor, smash the like. I'm going to go away and run. We'll be back 8 p.m. British Standard Time, where we go live for the Formula 1 Friday chat. As always, we'll go along there and it'll be techie once I've done some due diligence and research what's going on in the world. Have a fantastic Friday evening. Thank you guys for joining. Of course, this channel exists as a success by dint of your relentless industry telling me that I'm talking rubbish and fact checking my nonsense each and every single time. You guys have been legends. I will catch you later on 8 p.m. GMT. Qualifying I won't be here for potentially tomorrow, but race, of course, T-minus 30 minutes before lights out. Have a fantastic Friday. Chat, you guys are legends. Between now and next time, remember to look, but never stare. Peace.